The 1990s were supposed to be a golden era for British family motoring. New models, fresh designs, and promises of reliability filled every showroom floor. Families across Britain stretched their budgets, signed the finance agreements, and drove away feeling proud. But for thousands of buyers, that pride turned into frustration, embarrassment, and financial pain faster than anyone expected. From catastrophic electrical failures to rust appearing within months, some of these cars became absolute nightmares. Today, we're counting down 10 of the worst British market cars that families deeply regretted buying in the 1990s. And number 1? It is genuinely embarrassing. Now let's get into it. Number 10. Fiat Bravo and Brava. Kicking off our list is the Fiat Bravo and Brava. Launched in Britain in 1995 as a modern replacement for the popular Typo. It looked fresh and came with a range of petrol engines including a 1.4, 1.6, and a surprisingly punchy 1.8-litre unit. Families were attracted by the competitive pricing and sporty styling, which felt genuinely fresh compared to rivals at the time. But things started going wrong almost immediately. Rust appeared alarmingly fast on lower panels and door edges, which shocked buyers who had paid decent money for a supposedly modern car. The electrical systems were notoriously troublesome, with warning lights appearing on the dashboard for no obvious reason. Water leaks into the cabin were a common complaint that proved difficult and expensive to fix properly. Italian build quality was simply not what British families had hoped for. Sustained ownership became a genuine financial headache for many, but the next entry was somehow even more disappointing for families expecting better. Number 9. Vauxhall Cavalier Mark III. The Vauxhall Cavalier was Britain's second best-selling car for much of the early 90s, and that popularity made its failures all the more painful for owners. Families trusted the Cavalier completely. The 1.6 and 1.8 petrol engines were familiar, the boot was generous, and finance deals made it accessible to almost everyone. It looked modern, it felt solid in the showroom, and Vauxhall's dealership network provided reassurance. But that solid feeling didn't last long at all. The multi-point fuel injection version suffered persistent starting problems that mechanics struggled to diagnose consistently. Rust attacked the rear wheel arches aggressively, and many owners watched their seemingly solid family car deteriorate structurally within 5 years. The front suspension components wore faster than expected, creating expensive repair bills at precisely the wrong time. Gearbox issues on higher mileage examples were widely reported among owners. Imagine discovering serious rust on a car you were still paying monthly installments on. And if you think that sounds bad, the car at number 8 was even more unreliable. Number 8. Austin Maestro. The Maestro limped into the 1990s carrying baggage from the previous decade, yet dealers were still shifting them to unsuspecting buyers who wanted affordable family transport. Powered by the aging A-Series and later R-Series engines, the Maestro offered reasonable interior space and a competitive price point that genuinely attracted budget-conscious families. Some versions even featured an early talking dashboard, which was marketed as futuristic innovation. But that innovation masked serious underlying problems. Build quality was inconsistent from the factory, with panel gaps, rattling trim, and poorly fitted door seals reported across numerous examples. The electrical system was notoriously troublesome, and that talking dashboard became one of the most mocked features in British automotive history when it began malfunctioning. Rust was never far away, attacking sills, floors, and rear arches with enthusiasm. Resale values collapsed rapidly, meaning owners lost significant money the moment they decided enough was enough. But that wasn't even the worst part of the Maestro experience. The next car on our list promised far more and delivered far less. Number 7. Nissan Primera. Wait, before you object, the Nissan Primera was widely sold in Britain throughout the 1990s as a practical family saloon and hatchback, and it earned a complicated reputation that many buyers came to regret. The 1.6 and 2.0-litre engines promised reliability, the handling was genuinely praised by motoring journalists, and the interior space made it attractive for growing families. Early sales were strong precisely because buyers trusted Japanese engineering completely. But the P10 Primera developed a specific and deeply frustrating problem: severe and premature rust on the bodywork, which shocked owners who expected Japanese cars to resist corrosion better than their British rivals. Sills, rear arches, and floor sections were frequently affected. Electrical gremlins also appeared more regularly than the Nissan badge suggested they should, and interior plastics aged poorly. Resale value suffered heavily as the car's reputation spread through ownership forums and word of mouth. Could you live with rust appearing on a supposedly reliable import? The next entry proves that even premium expectations mean absolutely nothing when build quality fails fundamentally. Number 6. Ford Mondeo Mark I. When Ford launched the Mondeo in 1993, the motoring press declared it a world-class family car. President Clinton was reportedly photographed near one during a UK visit, and Ford's marketing machine worked overtime to position the Mondeo as the responsible, intelligent family choice. The 1.6, 1.8, and 2.0-litre Z-Tech engines were genuinely well engineered, and early examples drove beautifully. Many families bought in completely. But the early Mondeo had a secret that Ford quietly tried to manage behind the scenes. Rear suspension component failures became a serious and widely reported safety concern, prompting recalls that embarrassed Ford significantly. Electrical issues with early examples frustrated owners, and the dashboard controls developed rattles and failures that felt unacceptable on a supposedly premium product. Rust appeared around the rear arches on many first-generation examples faster than owners expected from a modern Ford. Repair costs were higher than the Escort generation had led buyers to expect. And what happened next shocked many Mondeo owners who had already experienced problems. If you think that's frustrating, the next car on our list made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Number 5. Rover 600. The Rover 600 was British Leyland's great hope, a genuine executive saloon built on Honda Accord underpinnings that was supposed to compete directly with the BMW 3 Series and Vauxhall Cavalier at the premium end of the market. The Honda-derived 1.8 and 2.0-litre engines gave it genuine mechanical credibility, and the interior was beautifully designed with genuine wood veneer and leather options that impressed buyers immediately. Families moving up the ownership ladder were naturally drawn to it. But the Rover 600 developed a reputation for electrical nightmares that became industry shorthand for unreliability. Central locking failures, instrument cluster faults, and mysterious warning lights appearing without explanation were reported extensively. The additional Rover-specific components layered over the Honda base introduced failure points that the original Accord never suffered. Dealership repair bills were eye-watering. Many owners described a feeling of constant low-level anxiety about what would fail next. Most buyers didn't discover the full electrical horror until the warranty period expired quietly. Stay with us, because the top 3 entries become significantly worse than anything we've seen so far. Number 4. Vauxhall Omega. The Vauxhall Omega arrived in 1994 promising executive-class comfort at a family-friendly price, and fleet buyers across Britain ordered them by the thousands. The 2.0 and 2.5-litre engines offered genuine motorway refinement, the cabin was spacious and well-equipped, and Vauxhall's dealer network gave buyers confidence. For a brief moment, the Omega looked like outstanding value. Then the problems started arriving, and they arrived relentlessly. Automatic gearbox failures were reported with uncomfortable regularity on higher mileage examples, with replacement costs that frequently exceeded the car's market value. Electrical systems developed complex and expensive faults that proved extremely difficult to diagnose without specialist equipment. Suspension components wore surprisingly quickly for a car of this class. Rust appeared on rear arches and underbody sections on examples only 5 or 6 years old. The Omega's residual values collapsed dramatically as reliability stories spread, leaving owners trapped in negative equity on finance agreements. Imagine financing an executive car and watching it fall apart before the agreement ended. But none of that compares to what awaits in our final 3 entries. Number 3. Rover 800 Series. The Rover 800 was Britain's flagship family executive car, sold throughout the entire decade with genuine ambition and premium pricing that asked buyers to trust the brand completely. The Honda-derived V6 and 4-cylinder engines genuinely impressed on paper, and the cabin design won real praise from motoring journalists who appreciated its distinctly British character. Many professional families bought the 800 specifically to project success. But the Rover 800 became one of the most talked about reliability disasters in 1990s British motoring. Head gasket failures were catastrophically common across multiple engine variants, leaving families stranded and facing repair bills that frequently exceeded several £100 at a time when that was genuinely serious money. Electrical faults multiplied with age, and the complex hood mechanism on Sterling and Coupe variants failed regularly. Rust attacked lower bodywork and sill sections aggressively. Resale values were among the worst in the entire executive segment. The number one car created a reputation that many owners never forgot. Let us know in the comments if you or your family ever owned a Rover 800. Number 2. Lancia Dedra. The Lancia Dedra was sold in Britain throughout the 1990s as an Italian-flavored alternative to the Ford Mondeo and Vauxhall Cavalier, and its styling genuinely turned heads in the showroom. The 1.6 and 1.8-litre engines were reasonably smooth, the interior felt distinctly European and characterful, and families who wanted something different from the ordinary were naturally attracted to it. Lancia's heritage suggested sophistication. But the Dedra's UK reputation became nothing short of catastrophic. Rust appeared so aggressively and so quickly on British examples that insurance companies and used car traders began refusing certain ages of the model entirely. Structural corrosion was reported on cars only 3 or 4 years old. Electrical systems failed repeatedly, and sourcing replacement parts in Britain was enormously difficult and expensive compared to mainstream rivals. Lancia's UK dealer network was already contracting sharply during this period, leaving owners with minimal support when problems inevitably arose. Many buyers described the ownership experience as genuinely stressful from start to finish. You won't believe what we've saved for our final entry, and it involves a car that millions of British families bought with total confidence. Number 1. Rover 100. And here it is, the car that earns the top spot on our list, and arguably the most embarrassing automotive story in 1990s Britain. The Rover 100, rebadged from the Metro in 1990, was everywhere. Millions of British families bought or considered one, attracted by its compact size, low running costs, and that reassuring Rover badge that suggested reliability and value. The 1.1 and 1.4 K-series engines were praised initially for their smooth character. But the 1,997 Euro NCAP crash test result changed everything overnight. The Rover 100 scored so catastrophically poorly in safety testing that the results were broadcast nationally, showing the A-pillar collapsing dramatically and the passenger space being devastated in a frontal impact. Families who had bought the car for their partners and teenage children were horrified. Beyond the safety scandal, K-series head gasket failures, rust, and persistent electrical faults had already been building the car's poor reputation for years. It remains one of the most publicly humiliated cars in British history. Tell us in the comments, would you have kept yours after seeing those crash test results? And that wraps up our countdown of the 10 worst British market cars that families regretted buying in the 1990s. From collapsing crash test results to rust appearing within years of purchase, these cars proved that ambition and marketing could never fully substitute for genuine quality and engineering discipline. The 1990s were a fascinating, painful, and often hilarious chapter in British automotive history, and the lessons these cars taught the industry still echo today. If you enjoyed this journey through automotive regret, consider subscribing to Britain Rewind for more stories just like this one. And tell us below, which of these cars do you remember most?